Live.
Hmm?
I sent the link in the chat. I think Greg wanted to join. But
Sure.
We'll see. Okay. We are live.
Hello.
So I got the chat pulled up.
Hello. I'm going to flipping back through this thing, because it's actually pretty interesting. You ever flip through these? You ever seen the Jedi one and the Sith one? They're actually pretty interesting. I like they have the different masters that make little notes on their little side scroll and stuff. It's actually a pretty neat little.
Yeah, I've seen some pictures from them, but
yeah, I like it. Man, that investors call, whoo, shit.
Yeah.
Like Disney came out and laid it down. Bam! Not only Star Wars but Marvel too. Man, they came out swinging.
CWA. This is episode 17. We've come a long way. Everyone else is up like almost episode 40.
28, 30. Yeah, they're almost at 30. That's okay. We do things at our own time and our own pace.
Yeah.
And so I've determined I'm gonna have to get that Star Wars atlas with the map of the galaxy on there, because as we'll get into it, I watched a breakdown video and somebody did a little detective work, so I'll get into I think I know where Gideon is or where he's going, which is gonna be really effing cool if we get to that point. So I'll bring that up all when you're ready to start.
Okay. You hit record. Record on this computer. Oh, and I should probably tweet the link.
Yes.
Since we're actually live today.
Yes.
YouTube. I need to figure out how to use multiple Twitter accounts on my PC. Sarah's in the chat. Hello, Sarah.
Hi.
Oh, we got 3 people watching right now. Hello, everyone.
Hi. Whoa. I just heard an echo through the force.
Yeah, I forgot to turn.
Oh, okay.
Sound off.
I thought Master Yoda was reaching out to me or something. Everybody watching, going, what the hell are these guys doing? Yeah, sorry, guys. Right? We're getting it together. We're
getting our shit together. It's an early Sunday morning, even though I've been up for 2 hours now. But Sarah says she just woke up.
Oh, now. Better wrap that hair up and come on. Well, I don't know. That's like an entertainment message or something. A little something. Nice little clip. Look, all worlds collide. Ooh. Cal Kestis, Old Ben. There's some training I'd like to see. Oh. I really like my Old Ben Black series there. I don't know why, but I just really do. It's really nice.
I'm going with the classic coffee mug today.
Nice. I'm ready to jump in whenever you are. Get this show on the road.
Retweeting the link on my personal Twitter. We know what we're doing, y'all.
Yeah,
we swear.
Sure.
All right. You ready to get rolling?
Let's go.
I know you said you are, but I'd just like to confirm anyways.
Sure.
And 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Star Wars Alliance podcast, your home on the Geek Ultimate Alliance podcast network for any and all things Star Wars. I'm one of your hosts, Katie Gilstrap, and with me, as always, Nathan. Nathan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good this
Fabulous
morning, guys. I'm doing good this morning, Katie. Listeners, viewers, I'm doing good. Ready to talk about a stellar episode of The Mandalorian.
Oh, this might be an interesting episode, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Before we get into it today, though, Nathan, why don't you give us the paperwork spiel, please, and thank you.
I'm going to try to give you the quick Cliff Notes version because everybody, well, most people know, but if it's your first time, we are part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance network, where I do believe you can find 10 individual shows dropping throughout your week. But we've got World's Finest True Believers, which is a comic, like an in-depth comic book, basically a graphic novel breakdown show. You've got DC Alliance, which talks everything DC, Marvel Alliance, everything Marvel, Star Wars Alliance. Obviously, you guys are here, you know the deal. We've got a Ranger Alliance that takes place, in the Morphin Grid over there. We've got a Slice of Film, which is basically looking at films of yesteryear. We've got a current comic book podcast, Weird Science Comic Roundup, Marvel and DC, where they take a look at the most current issues and the most current going-ons. We also have Super Civil Servants, which goes live on Friday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, I do believe. And I do believe that's it. We also have, we are an ad-supported network, so we don't get to pick the ads that are played, the volume and the repetitiveness of, playing the same ad 4 times. But I get it. We don't understand why. So that could be a little jarring, so you might have to adjust your volume. We also have a Patreon account, which is going to get cracking here with a lot more content soon. But we have a $1 tier, which is basically just to help keep the Kyber crystals, charged or whatever. And then there's a $5 tier, which gets you exclusive episodes, ad-free episodes, and early access to things. And I do believe that about wraps it up.
Yep. And I'm sorry I didn't get Slice of Film up this past week for National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I had an exciting event this week happen, so I got a little distracted.
Congratulations. If you haven't heard, we congratulated you on Super Civil Servants. So.
Oh, did you? Oh.
We did.
No, I haven't had a chance to listen yet. But yes, I got a little distracted this week because I got engaged, y'all. You haven't learned.
Completely understand. Completely understand. And congratulations again.
Thank you. But that will be up this week along with Office Christmas Party, y'all. So I'm excited.
Nice.
But yes, I have heard from a couple people. Thank you, Jonathan. So I have heard from a couple people. They're going to join us in a little bit. But Let's go ahead and dive into it.
Let's go.
Chapter 15 of The Mandalorian, The Believer, which I find is a really interesting title.
Oh, I heard a speculation on who somebody thinks the Believer. I don't know. I'll get there. Would you want to go now? I'll tell you, what I heard, and it makes perfect sense. The Imperial, Joe Chill from Batman Begins, the Imperial officer there, which, that's a great connection. That guy, God, so damn creepy and had me the hairs on the back of my neck standing up when he had them guys.
Yes.
But anyway, I heard there's the interesting perspective that he was the true believer because he was given that speech of people think they want freedom, son. They want order. You know what I mean? And I heard it, but I think this guy is the believer because he believes in the Empire. He believes in, I like the interesting choice of words. They want order, meaning we're getting closer to the First Order. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But that was the perspective I heard, is that he was the believer because he had the conviction, telling Mayfield that all that genocide stuff is for the greater empire and stuff. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just heard that.
He was perfect.
Oh God, was he not so good? Just the creepiest slime ball.
I would disagree. I would say the believer is Din Djarin. Had his faith rattled today. Sure. Or during the episode, not today.
Yes.
But what is your one word, Nathan? Exciting.
I found the episode or exhilarating. Let's put exhilarating. Because that's a better word for it.
Okay. I'm actually gonna say flat.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So interesting.
Now, don't get me wrong. I believe this is a good episode. But in the first season, when we wanted to evoke a true emotional reaction from Din in his perspective, we saw the flashbacks. And in this case, spoiler alert, because we're going to get into spoilers, so we might as well just do it now.
Right.
He takes off his helmet in this episode. And while you see his reaction in an extent because he's unable to really function because he's like, oh my gosh, I thought this was just going to be one and done, and now I'm having full-blown conversations while my helmet's off. Like, what the fuck am I doing? And to me, that would have brought a fully emotional connection if you'd seen a flashback to when he gets his helmet. You don't even have to see his face, but you just see him with his helmet on, and you've got a Mandalorian telling him that you don't ever take this off again. You putting this on tells me you're part of the Creed.
That's very true, and I would have totally been down for that because more backstory on him as a kid during that era. You know me, sign me up. But it's almost that would have almost been not necessary just because of the Mayfield's conversation. Mayfield puts it flat out to him. So what is it? He goes, you cross lines when you have to because Grogu, his basically his son, like he's gonna do what he has to do. So and like Mayfield says, so what is it? You can never take your helmet off, or you can't show anybody your face because you got your helmet's off. Now you got a different one on. You know what I mean? Like he kind of puts it in there to where, like he's right. You know what I mean? You can see it just in the helmet reaction, kind of like how it kind of goes down. Like Mayfield got his ass. You break your own. So what is it? You know what I mean? He's skirting the lines too. He tries to play this. This is the way, but this is also the way. Like whenever you need to do something, and something goes. I don't know. That's just
which to me, I think the Mayfield. Yeah. The Mayfield conversation is really good, and it does evoke some emotional reaction in it. But when it comes down to it, when he goes up to the screen still, and Mayfield's already told him, hey, you're going to need to scan your face for this. And he goes up to it with his helmet on and lets it scan his helmet.
So stupid.
You can't tell me, like, he's
that would have
not
been a good cut-in scene. Yeah, that would have been
during the
that
10 seconds. Spot.
Yeah. You could have put like him when he takes it off. You could have showed him putting his on as a. You're right. That would have been a great juxtaposition. Like I would have totally loved that. You're right.
That would have killed the rest of the episode for me. Like that would have brought it to the next level. I think Famuyiwa.
Oh, yes. Famuyiwa. Like after this, what a great writer and director. Like some of the shots in this. Like, please, can we get this man? Let him helm the Lando series or something, whatever he wants to do. Because the movie, whether it be movie, series, or whatever, but he's got the chops. Like, let's go. This episode was fantastic, in my opinion. Like I said, very thrilling.
I would probably give it like a 7 out of 10.
Sure.
I still thought it was good.
Right.
I'm just thinking like, okay, we still haven't seen him, interact with his heritage as a Mandalorian to where he's at now since the Bo-Katan came in and kind of warbled his mind. I can't think of the word that I want, but like we still
even
haven't
Boba Fett. Even in his time with Boba, like Boba's got no problem taking that helmet off, and like he said, he's got the Kree, like he's got his own way. You know what I mean? Like he's his own Mando, but he's still just as much Mando as Din Djarin. You know what I mean? So like, I think he's been spending at least probably in the Star Wars galaxy like a week with him now by getting places you know what I mean? So like it's just I don't know, like maybe he's softening because you're right, Bo really came in Rocker's world because like I said, she was the last ruler of Mandalore and like she was born on the planet. You know what I mean? You aren't gonna tell her what a real Mandalorian is, motherfucker. Yeah. She done been there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that's where I'm just thinking, okay, if we're missing that heritage moment that he's hasn't had yet, where he finally confronts it. Because yes, he's willing to do anything for Grogu at this point, but he's still got that heritage in the back of his mind because at some point, like Mayfeld's already seen him, and yes, Mayfeld said, you didn't see anything and I didn't see your face. Like,
well, let's backtrack a little bit. Let's start with the opening of this episode. Okay, like let's go to because we know where we left off. Like he had to get Cara doing. I loved the shot of the repurposed Imperial walkers and the fucking the TIE fighter graveyard. What that was just so cool to me. Like when you just go in there and at first I'm like, what is this? And like I see the little round ball, I'm like, is that tight? And I look around, I'm like, oh, there's wings, and I go, and then I get it. It's the prison. I said, well, this is actually pretty cool. You know what I mean? Like, you were part of the Empire, so your job is to, hey, you're gonna help deconstruct the Empire. You know, I don't know. I just thought it was a really cool looking landscape, and you know what I mean? Just another little piece of the universe.
Yeah, well, and that almost evoked like Jedi Fallen Order vibes to me. Like seeing that junkyard, which is where I'm like, okay, Cameron is still
Cal
here.
Kestis starts. Yeah, you're right. I totally didn't think that, but you're right. That's where you start off with Cal Kestis is in the Imperial or the junkyards, breaking down the old Republic Star Cruisers, and so that's actually, you know what, nice connection. I didn't even put that together. That's awesome.
And I didn't even play the game that much.
Right.
Yeah, I thought that was good. So obviously we get a lot of Gina Carano in this one with Cara Dune, and I still think she's flat. Like, she's just not bringing a lot of emotion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't.
There were times she could have evoked a little more, but at this point, I almost just feel like that's the character they're going for. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, almost like that's why she was cast, because they wanted that to not be overly excitable, not be over, like, you know, she's kind of like the stoic, like, I'm here to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of bubble gum. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's her only job is kicking ass, basically. I don't know. I understand what you're saying, but I think that's what they're going for. I feel like she was
a different character in the first season.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't know. I have to go back and do a season 1 and 2 run through back to back after this to see if I can. I felt like she's still the same. How about the interior of the fucking slave one? I love that you got to see like the inside gyro of that. So like when the ship goes up, because you're always wondering like, damn, is Boba got to get in there and everybody's gonna lay on their backs before it gets up? But no, like it showed like that gyro. I just thought that was the coolest thing ever. They're sitting still and just go around them.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. Like, to me, it always made sense. Like, okay, no, it's a full ship. You're going to be able to walk around it.
Yeah.
And especially with artificial gravity and everything, like, you're not going to really feel that to an extent. So
I just thought it was a nice touch. You know, if we're going to be inside the cockpit, like, let's do a little something with it. Let's show a little more to it, which it's so weird to me that, like, I love the Razor Crest. And like it was going around, but now that it's gone, like I'm totally fine seeing Slave One going from planet to planet, doing all this shit. I'm like, yes, like, you know what I mean? I'm totally fine with it.
Yeah. That was cool. I'm kind of mad Finnick didn't get a poster. They only gave Boba Fett a poster. Like when they've done the promotional items on Monday.
Yeah, didn't even notice.
Well, yeah, I know because you're not on Twitter, but
right. But I get what you're saying. Yeah. Well, I got a feeling that she's going to be a little more instrumental because you remember how we were saying last week, like, man, they really focused on her helmet. And then we saw the Bad Batch trailer. We saw it. And now it makes sense. Like, you know, the dots are connected. We're lining up now.
The dots. Yes, the dots. Yeah, like, I think the biggest thing that I've hung up on this episode was I don't feel like there was enough emotion brought in the Din thing. Like I thought the action was good. I thought, oh, Sarah's entered the waiting room.
Hi. Okay, yeah, I'll let you continue. Yeah. But I was gonna say I'm gonna rebuttal here in a minute.
Sorry, guys.
Hello, Sarah.
Hello.
I'm like super lazy today. I've been listening. Don't worry. So I'm kind of up to speed of what you guys have going on. So
I gotcha. First things first. I want to hear your one word. Good morning.
Nice.
Oh my one word. I hadn't even thought about that. I think character.
Ooh,
nice.
I want to hear the why.
Reason being, and I answered Snail back on this on Twitter because of his reactions. I mean, we're so used to all these previous episodes being so action-packed, you're bringing more characters in. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of going on different little arcs. I just felt like this episode was more for Din's character development. Because I know, I heard you guys talking about, when he took his helmet off. And I think the conversation he had with Mayfield in the transporter was a really big.
Yes.
Really big.
I agree.
because especially, and I think I heard you guys say this with Bo-Katan about, and I've said this before with the Mandalorian ideals or whatnot, and the religion per se, there's different sects. So now he's starting to realize that he's not the only one. So I think it just went a long way for him to be able to for number one, to switch armor, but for him to say he would basically do anything to get Grogu back. I mean, that was a big step for his development. So I think I saw somebody say where he was more like went from protector to father.
Absolutely.
But the look on his face when he took that helmet off, it was like, even when they had the conversation in the transport, with even, and I think Katie, I heard you say something about how he's, there's a lot of emotion, even if he does have his helmet on, the way he just kind of turns his head and that kind of thing. So I just feel like it was a big development for Din. So that's why. Well, and like character.
My point with that is like, I still think it's a big development for him, but to me, it just didn't evoke enough emotional reaction, really, because
that's because your emotions have been on overdrive, getting engaged with the stuff. You're so up here, you can't even feel anything else that's right here. Come on, we know what it is.
Well, I mean, and that's true. I mean, because some of the writing, I've heard, just some of the comments on Twitter, people saying, well, this is not the very strong episode. I think it is, but in a different way. Like I said, it's not in your, it's subtle. Like I said, it's very subtle. And like,
you get like some PTSD remarks from Mayfeld's character, like with how he reacts to Van Ness, in a sense.
If you put Indiana Jones in this, I feel like this is a Jones movie. I feel like this episode straight up is like an Indiana Jones movie. I swear to God, I could see Indy with his hat being right there doing the same thing that Din Djarin was doing. Like to me, like I said, people saying this wasn't very strong. Like I said, after this episode, I'm even more convinced that I think Rick Famuyiwa should be let him go, because this man gets it. Like I said, I was thoroughly it felt like I don't want to say thriller, but like you know what I mean? Like you're actually, like I said, an Indiana Jones movie is what it felt like to me. You know what I mean? You knew what your mission was. You knew something was going to go wrong. You got to adjust, adapt. He's literally kicking the shit out of these guys that are attacking on the back of this thing as it's rolling. You know what I mean? Like.
It gave different opinions too. It gave a different aspect because it's not all just for public. I mean, because especially when they came in on the transport and you had all these troopers that were like,
he said you never thought you'd be happy to see a stormtrooper.
Exactly.
And by the way, hey, let's applaud these because these are the best marksman fucking stormtroopers I've ever seen.
That was like, wow, they could actually hit something, huh?
If they would have put these guys against the Millennium Falcon, like I think our, Luke and them might have had a different money because these guys were the good ones. They had them all in reserves.
No, and I'm not saying that this wasn't a good episode, but I think for the past couple episodes, we've been waiting for him to have kind of that reckoning with his heritage
moments
as a child of the Watch, as a foundling. So to me, I think we've only got one more episode left. When are we going to see that? Because
this next episode.
Maybe
with the fact that he's in the Imperial system enough to where he didn't technically need Mayfield. He just didn't want to take his helmet off. And like Mayfield said in the transport, you're willing to cross a line for this kid. You blur your lines when it serves you. And he's right there. He wasn't going to take it off at all. But which is very interesting that he's in the system. You know what I mean, like that. So I can't wait to find out more about that. And that's why Gideon knows him so well. But him pulling that off, that was also a crisis. And Mayfield was right. He validated him, he's going to do whatever he's got to do to get this child back. You know what I mean? Like literally going in and he pulled it off and go like, you could see it on his face. You know what I mean? Just being like, so like I said, I saw it more in not necessarily the dialogue and all that, but I saw it in still in the way he moved it. But I think next episode is where you get that because like I said, we're going to, obviously, Gideon knows him. He's in this system. So I think when these two come to a head, because what's he say at the end? I'm coming for you. Which, by the way, that was great because that's the exact same thing Gideon said to him outside that mesa, or outside that thing on Navarro. But like when they come to heads, that's when we're going to see your come to G. You know what I'm saying? We're going to find out how Gideon knows him. Why is he in the system? When did he put the helmet? I think all that comes next episode.
So I don't think he had to be in the system for it to react. I think he just had to not have warrants out for his arrest or like be known as a New Republic asset. So like Finnick had a warrant out for her arrest, so she couldn't do it. Kara's known as a New Republic officer now.
True.
She's
That's
in the
true.
New Republic system. So
I didn't think
and
of it
then
like that.
Boba Fett's a clone.
That was the coolest thing ever when he says, my face says, they might recognize my face. I don't know. I just thought that was so cool. I'm like, yeah, no shit, because there was only like a billion of you. Yeah.
Yeah. So at that point, I think didn't necessarily have to be in the Imperial
That's
system.
true. I didn't think of it like that.
Kind
of like one of those, like, are you a bot? You know, that the like
you're right.
out
Like,
all
I didn't
those.
think of it like that. You're right. That's a good way to look at it.
So I think that's really what happened there.
How about wheels in the Star Wars universe? Like straight up rubber tires. Like I don't think I remember seeing rubber tires in any other thing Star Wars. I swear to God, we're sitting there watching my wife and I said, oh, did we just introduce rubber tires to the Star Wars universe? So she's laughing at me. I swear, we had sand crawlers, we have things that float, fly. I said, but I don't think I've ever seen a rubber tire in this universe.
Hey, we've seen a boat this season. We've seen rubber tires.
Well, we saw Rey on a boat in Rise of Skywalker. Yeah, we saw jeans. You're right, jeans in the Star Wars universe. I think that was just the George Lucas species. You know, it's this guy in a jeans and a flannel. There's just a bunch of George Lucases walking around, Planet of Lucases.
Well, he's out of the episode now, so
yes. They scrubbed him.
Yep. What was I going to say?
But this was another thing. I just want to bring this up. This was like another point where this is the first episode you haven't seen the child, or you haven't seen Grogu. So everybody's like just freaking out about that. They're like, I read this article. It's like you've like broke one of the main rules. No, it's fine. Calm down.
The show is called The Mandalorian. In case anyone didn't know.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I just really
Boba's armor being painted. Oh, looks so badass. Like his new paint job being all fresh and stuff. Look good, man.
Well, and I saw someone bring this up on Twitter, but I had completely forgotten about this. In Legends, the painting of the armor is kind of the description of who's wearing it. So green in the Legends evoked like honor and legacy, loyalty. So I'm curious to see if they bring that back, like, because we know like Din's armor isn't painted because he's not gonna know anything about that really.
He likes that gunmetal gray.
I'm trying to think of like Bo-Katan. We really haven't seen her like describe what her armor means to her. I think like
she had a lot of like the owl, you know, like you know, she had a lot of that, kind of like the way Sabine, you know, just it was more decorative, that kind of thing.
But I'm curious to see if they bring like the color meaning of the painted armor back, like not even just the decorations. But
that makes sense.
Because especially with him like freshly painting it, like we know how
so
beat
good.
up it was in Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back. So
I'm even a fan of like the little like I don't know, like you know, it's the robe and you can see the bottom of it. It kind of flaps out a little bit. I'm even a fan of that, where he's almost got like a mini cape, but it's not the cape over his rocket. You know, which that's terrible because the first time he hits those rocket boosters, he's going up in flames because that thing's flapping and it's gonna hit it right. He's gone.
Well, I mean, Din has a cape.
Yeah, but he takes it off when he flies. Well, I know, and his on the side, like that's what I mean. It cracks me up because I want it to be realistic. Just one time, he's just up in the air and the wind goes wrong, just burns up. And he's oh shit, he's gonna throw it off in the air.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be funny? Because there's a laugh, guys, and there's a natural one. We don't have to force humor. We'll just do that.
Have you guys talked about like the very last, like for have you talked about Din's message to?
Not yet.
Okay.
We
kind of briefly, but yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, if we're getting there, I like how Rhydonium was brought back because I watched a video. You know, full credit to somebody else breaking it down because I like to see the stuff that I missed. You know.
Yeah.
And they broke it down, and the Rhydonium is what Sabine and Hera used on that one, a base on one to blow these creatures up that are trying to take them all out.
Yes, they were like those canisters that was sitting
in that
cave.
Yeah. Yes. Which I thought was really cool. I liked Mayfield because, you know, remember in the first time we saw it, he's like, it was an Imperial. And he goes, well, that's not impressive. And he goes, I wasn't a goddamn stormtrooper smart ass. You know, he was a sharpshooter. And I love that he grabs Boba's gun. He's like, let me see that. And he pulls out, you know what I mean? Just kind of like, that's just kind of like his mic drop moment. Like, see, I told you I wasn't a goddamn stormtrooper. You know what I mean? Like, it's
yeah.
And apparently they have TPS reports in the galaxy.
Which was hilarious because if you've seen Office Space, one of my favorite movies ever, Office Space is fucking hilarious. And that's when somebody said that's got to be improvised. That's got to be improvised. That's got to be just a Bill Burr thing.
I've never seen.
Katie, I found a
yourself
meme.
favor.
I have to send it to you.
No. I will
need to
slice
watch
it through
that
Office
one.
Space with you. I will slice it
That
through
would be a
Office
good
Space
one.
with you,
Yes,
'cause
that'd be a good
That
one.
movie is hilarious.
We'll put it on the
but-
calendar for January.
Yes,
But Bill Burr, I just want to commend his acting. Because when that sit down, like basically the OK crowd, basically your Han and Greedo moment, only way more intense. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, the guy, I can't remember his name, but he played Joe Chill at Batman Begins. But God, just the way he was talking, that slimy kind of.
When he's the
my
original
hair.
actor for the Night King in Game of Thrones.
Yes. I knew that too. Like my hair was standing up when he's talking, and like I just loved it on Mayfield. Like when he's like, "What about the people? You know, what about my guys? You know, what about the people who are just fighting for their planet and shit?" And I'm like, "Oh," you could see Din tense up. Like he knows. You know what I'm saying? He knows. And when he just pulls that out and blasts him, I love it. And he kind of just looks around, just started. I was like, "Oh shit, here we go."
I like his reasoning for that though, because he had to take them all out because they saw your face. So now technically Mayfield's the only one that's in his face.
There's an episode inconsistency that pissed me off. Mando runs out of phaser bullets, whatever the hell you want to call it, to his gun, and he throws it. But when they pull into the fucking thing, he's got that gun on his hip in there, and I went, "Oh, that kind of irks me a little bit, damn it!" Like, but he doesn't use that. He doesn't use that in the thing. He uses that officer's gun. But I'm just saying, it kind of irked me. They didn't take the time to be like, no, he wouldn't have his gun right now. He threw it. But that's just a minor inconsistency.
But wouldn't they have extra weapons in the trailer?
If that's the case, you go, Mayfield, throw me your blaster. Instead of, we know the next one's going hand to hand with him because he had time to watch them ones jump on. You go, Mayfield, throw me up one of yours or so. You know what I mean?
But Mayfield, in my thing, it makes sense because like Mayfield's trying to keep the truck steady, so you don't want Mayfield moving.
You're right. Which I thought
when he sped up, it got kind of dicey. So
first of all, and also rubber tires and a gas and brake pedal. Because at first, like he's using the throttle up here, which could be like a lawnmower, I guess. You can make your throttle, but you see that one where he's got to slow down and he takes his foot off the gas and smashes the brake. And I went, really? Like, what the hell are we doing? Because most of the time it's throttle stuff. You know what I mean?
Yep.
This is a very backwards planet. This must be like Earth only 100 years from now. They're still using our shit. That's where they must have been.
Well, and maybe they just used like rubber tires and went backwards kind of because of like how unstable Rhydonium is. I don't know.
Yes,
I'm all for it. I'm just saying, I thought it was interesting. I'm like,
I don't know. They look badass though. I was like, those are some badass looking transports.
So cool.
I found it interesting that they kind of mentioned Operation Cinder in this and kind of
said,
"Oh, well, we're planning more stuff along those lines. Like you're never going to see it coming." I found that really interesting.
Me too.
Operation Cinder, Sarah. I don't know if you probably haven't heard of it, but it's where they committed, like they went across planets and basically had TIE fighters take out and commit genocide across the planet.
They had floating satellites in there in the game Battlefront and Battlefront 2, especially in the storyline.
By the way, let me say this real quick.
Did you watch those? Yeah.
No, I did, but Brian downloaded Knights of the Old Republic.
Nice. He got me to go. But in the game, Operation Cinder, Palpatine had these like robots that would hold a space and like a hollow message. And they wanted to basically just destroy planets, disrupt the atmosphere, do whatever. So there was satellites basically from space and Star Destroyer. And guys were going in to get them. And then it's your job to kind of help go break them up. And you get to play Luke in one thing and all that. But yeah, that's kind of was just basically Palpatine just like, if I can't have it, nobody's having it. You know what I mean? Like,
and like he did it on Naboo and a couple other well-known planets. Naboo survived. But
okay, that's cool. I mean, I had heard of it, but I didn't know what it was. So I didn't know the whole thing. But thank you.
The repercussions are explored in Alphabet Squadron, which, by the way, Nathan, I finished Shadowfall, and Shadowfall's a lot better than Alphabet Squadron.
Is it? I was going to say, because I mentioned something on there that I personally couldn't get through the first half of the first one. And like you said, I've heard people said the second one's better, and I've heard the second half of the first book, it really picks up. And I just was punching myself in the face trying to get through the first half. So I just, you know what I mean? I liked how Mando in the Stormtrooper outfit, like he raises his arm to block that. Boom! It broke. That's not Beskar. And he goes,
my thoughts exactly.
He's got to start going up like this. He's going, oh shit, he's got to really be on the defensive. And he notice how he wielded that spear, which bodes good for his Beskar spear that he's got. That he's the only thing that survived from the Razor Crest. So I think he can have more skills with that.
I find it interesting because the last episode we talked about this, we haven't really seen him go in hand-to-hand combat a lot.
You're right.
We talked about that in the last episode, and now like we've got a full sequence.
Yeah.
Well,
oh no, sorry, go ahead.
But I liked how when they got off the transport, Din's like limping, and it was like,
yes,
oh, that's gonna hurt.
How about when he got into that when he came back down and sat in that chair, he was moving kind of slow. I think he kind of like he appreciated not having that scar.
The light brown stormtroopers are from Rogue One, which I thought was a nice touch to pull that armor in there, just to have your varieties. And I liked how there was some pristine stormtroopers, and then you saw some from like the beginning season that were all, they said their armor's seen better days and stuff.
Yeah,
I thought it was great. But you guys want to talk about that message there? Because oh man, it didn't mess up. I really think he messed up.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if he did or not. It's kind of like I was talking to Brian about that because I saw it and then I watched it with him again, and I'm thinking he's face value. Yes, I would say that, but I'm thinking he's playing the mental, like the psychological warfare with.
It's the exact same message that he gave to him, only he changed like 2 words to fit with it. Which bravo for bringing that back, that mirror thing, but. Just the way that Gideon brings that little smile at the end, like, it's almost like a bring it, bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've got the kid. Like, you know what? I'll stab him in the throat. Like, you can't do it. You know what I mean? Like, just to look that smile. God, Giancarlo Esposito, man, that guy is one of the best villains. Because he, like I said, with just that look, you're like, ooh, like I think Din messed up.
Well, like it's on.
I think Din knows to an extent that Gideon can't kill the kid at this point.
You're right.
So,
they need him.
So I think he knows that, which is why I think he's playing that psychological warfare game, because he's like, okay, at this point, I'm doing anything to get the kid back, and there's nothing you can do to stop me, unless you kill me or something. I find it interesting, and I'll go ahead and tie this in. On the Disney investors call, we heard of 2 more shows, and we'll get into that later, but they said that there was going to be basically a giant crossover between The Mandalorian and 2 other shows.
They're doing the Marvel thing.
But I think they've seen kind of how it, not necessarily, I wouldn't call it the Marvel thing. I would more say, okay, we've seen kind of how the CW got some reactions with crossovers, and let's see if we can make this work.
I only say that because that's the model they know. Yes, technically they're not doing it with movies. It'll be the first time that they've adapted it for a series. And you're right, the CW innovated that. But I'm just saying they're basically pulling their model and doing it on, which is fine. And the interesting part about that is it's the 2 shows, the 3 that are going to cross over, all 3 helmed by Filoni and Favreau. That's not anything else, because that's they're making their own little universe, but it all connects to the bigger universe.
They're just expanding it. You have like all these different parts that you're bringing back together to show this whole mechanism how it works.
Exactly.
So I'm interested to see if there will kind of be a giant big bad that everyone's gonna have to fix.
Thrawn.
That's exactly what I was thinking. No, because the Rangers. So we'll go ahead and say the 2 shows, Ahsoka and the Rangers of the New Republic, were the ones that they said were going to be the crossover, and so they both were marked as limited series. And The Mandalorian season 3 has been confirmed to come out next Christmas of 2021.
They did see, and that was the part that I had missed. I didn't think, but yes, I missed that initially, and then Chris filled me in on that, and I was so glad, because I was like, man, I didn't think they confirmed it, but I'm so glad that they did, because man, I love this show. Like, give me more of it. Just go, let's go.
Yeah.
And also Richard Brake is who you were talking about.
Yes. Okay. Yes. What a just great slimy, just chill, just villain. Like, just a little, just the way he talks, the inflection, just how he look. I mean, all due respect, sir, you look like a great, terrible villain. Yeah.
I got chills. So
he made a great villain. It was just like, because it gave you that. You're like, okay, when's he going to shoot him? You going to shoot him yet? Any day now.
Yeah.
I think that always speaks volumes when you have a villain like that, because if you want to, because you're like so against them, just come on, get this guy.
Boba using the sonic charge. First of all, I love that sound, but like, what a great callback to Django using that in Attack of the Clones. You know what I'm saying? That just that sonic charge. God, I love that sound. Anyway, that was so cool when I saw that. I was like, yes, I forgot about that.
I just loved his reaction. He was like, I got this. Hold on.
Yeah, I know.
Right
out there.
It's like, I got this. It's good. And I know you guys did talk about this beforehand, but the mechanisms of the ship.
Yes.
I know
so
you
cool.
heard that.
The gyro, yeah.
And that was one thing that Brian and I talked about too. He's like, "Oh my gosh, it's so cool that you finally see that." I'm like, "Well, yeah, that is." I mean, they're bringing out they're putting all these little details. Like I said, it's subtle details that you might have just wondered about. You're like, "Okay, do you go like from this to this? I mean, what exactly is going on?" So I think that's really cool. But that's my 2 cents.
Let's take a quick ad break, y'all, and we'll come back to finish up the Mandalorian discussion and start a Disney investors discussion. And 3, 2, 1. And we're back, y'all. If you're watching, thanks for paying attention to podcast magic. And if you're listening, thanks for listening to the ad. We appreciate you. So, Sarah, I know you came on a little late. Is there anything else you wanted to discuss, or Nathan, you too? Is there anything else you want to discuss about this episode before we jump into where we think the season finale is going?
I've got one thing to say. The reason why I want to get the Star Wars Atlas, the map thing, is because somebody, I want to give due credit, but Star Wars Theories, he had like broken it down and taken that map that we see Din do and put it, and the section that Gideon is in or heading to is like 1 of 2 planets, but the big one that stood out to me is it's in the general vicinity or going towards Camino, and we know that guy, he's got that Pershing, is that has Camino patch. They're wanting to, wouldn't it be prudent if you need more blood to go ahead and clone, Baby Yoda or whatever to get more blood? So I found that very interesting that they're heading that way. There was another planet that somebody said, and I can't remember what it is, but the one that stuck out to me was Camino, because I mean, it makes sense. We've seen enough pieces. Mm-hmm. And wouldn't it be weird if Boba had to go back home to Camino? You know what I mean? Because that's it. Technically, he grew up there with his dad for the first couple of years.
Yep. So that would be interesting to see. And I honestly think that's possible, us taking a trip back to Camino and kind of maybe even evoking like some Attack of the Clones vibes with
Dexter Gesture.
Not Dexter, but like I'm not saying not have Dexter. I don't
mind the diner scene. I know people shit on that. I don't mind Dexter or the diner scene, so whatever.
I don't mind the Dexter scene either, but I'm just saying, like, if you bring back kind of the fight between Jango and Obi-Wan to an extent, kind of in a different direction. They've already got the choreography for it.
I'm pretty good. I think I've just hit on all the points that kind of stood out to me now. So
me too.
That's cool.
Okay. So let's go ahead and talk about where we think the season finale is going. And if you're watching live and want to chime in with what you think, let's hear it. So Sarah, what do you think?
Love to hear some great theories.
I mean, I'm hoping there will be the showdown, some form of showdown between Din and Gideon, because, after, you drop words like that, I mean, how you got to pick that up. I mean, you can't just leave that one. And hopefully we'll see Baby Yoda once again, But I'm just curious to see, what characters. There was another, and like the maybe relationship between Boba and Din. Maybe that can, more of Din's Mandalorian, his thought process. It's like maybe he'll kind of bring in all the ideals, the ideas and stuff. Maybe just. Or he could just stick to his own. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, maybe he could stick to his own.
Like Boba, he bows to no one. He follows his own path. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
He's still a Mandalorian.
Exactly. So, that's what I'm kind of curious to see. I think I want to see more of like the Mandalorian arc, more. And I think it's going to follow that more. So I don't think they're really going to I wouldn't think they bring in more, big characters.
I wouldn't
talk about Boba Fett. We got it. But, yeah, I've been trying to get him on there but he just won't record. So he would be a good one for you guys to talk to, believe me. But no, I mean, I that's what I want to see. I just want to see more of Boba, obviously. I want to see that kind of story arc. So that's just my thoughts. So what do you guys think? He's not going to double cross him. No,
stop it. I think I think that we get. I think we get the confrontation in the showdown, but I'm not sure if we get. Well, actually, I think we get to see the Darksaber clash with that spear now. But I don't think Din ends up with Grogu at the end of the season. I do not think he gets in. I don't think they tie it up nice and neat where he's just back with him and we're lottie-dottie on our merry way. I think Gideon gets him away or doesn't even have him on the ship anymore. Maybe he's already on Kamino or something of that nature. But I think we're in for the showdown and like we think it's going to be all good. But, Vader like Gideon, he comes out at the end with that maniacal laugh like, I'm out of here. And you're gone out of there. And then we're like and then we're all left for a year until next Christmas going, no, you know what I mean? So like, I think that's what they're going to do. I don't think he ends up with him. I don't think it's tied up. I think it's still a shit show by the end of the season. We're going, oh God, what happens next? You know what I mean? Like he's got no ship. He's got no kid. He doesn't even have his rifle anymore. Like, I think he's still just going to be kind of, where do I go?
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to throw something out there. It's not about where. Okay, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll save it. No, I'm not going to.
Go ahead. Come on. No holds barred.
So I think we're going to see the showdown between Gideon and Den. I would agree with Nathan. I don't think Grogu's going to come back to be with Den at the end of the season. What I do think is going to happen is we're going to get the Jedi who heard Grogu in this episode.
Totally forgot.
Yes.
And I think
forgot.
I think that's going to be the spinoff for Rangers of the New Republic. Because, and I'll reference something here, the High Republic references the Jedi as Rangers.
I guess, but sure. That is interesting because I wondered how you go from a marshal to a ranger. Like, what's a ranger, But man, I was thinking more of like I don't know, like a squadron of, not necessarily X-Wings because, we'll get there later. We're getting squadrons as a movie, but I just kind of thought it was going to be like a ragtag group of like, we're out
here just unnamed. I mean, are there going to be anyone that, maybe I'm showing my ignorance, but we're just like a new group, kind of like
Walker,
rebels?
Texas Rangers, what I'm imagining, only in space. You see Chuck Norris come out there just karate kicking the shit out of everybody in space is what I'm imagining.
Like Renegade rolling in on your speeders.
Oh man, just you know what I mean? Just those cowboy boots just kicking the shit out of it. Chuck Norris, you know what I mean? Like he's a badass, just be out there karate kicking everybody with those cowboy boots.
Okay, I can't find where, but I'm fairly certain the High Republic references Jedi as Rangers. Even if it's like on the Outer Rim side of things.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to find that.
No, they reference them as that's the closest thing to our real world history. If I remember correctly, I might be wrong. If you find it, obviously you'll know more. But I thought they were real, like what is the best comparison to the Jedi at this point in time? Not like they were. You know what I mean? There is basically like what I understood is they compared it to like what we have now, like U.S. like Rangers around, like what we old timey Rangers stuff that would just kind of go around and help where they're needed, basically. Which I guess is kind of like the Jedi were originally.
Okay, I found the reference. It wasn't in the High Republic, but in the Disney Investors Call, there's some imagery that's evoked from the original origins of Tython, which is Dawn of the Jedi Into the Void. So they've got some imagery from there in the Investors Call. But Jedi Ranger was a term which referred to a Force sensitive who had completed their studies at each of the great temples of Tython as a journeyer and were tasked with traveling the settled worlds as representatives of the Jedi Order. Legends reference still, but it's there.
Well, we got Tython, and I mean, so
we got
really,
Tython.
The pieces are set up. They heard a Jedi. Obviously, a Jedi heard him. So that could. Wow, that's a good pull, Katie. That's a good pull. More. Give me an Ahsoka show where there's lightsabers cutting everybody down. A Mandalorian show and a Ranger show with a new Jedi. Yep, sign me up. Let's go. Lightsabers.
Because Katie, did you say these were limited series,
Mhm.
or they're going to be, or maybe more to come type deal?
I imagine Ahsoka's going to go the distance. This Rangers, depending on where it goes, I would imagine might be limited. But Ahsoka,
maybe introducing it as
they're
a
going to milk
limited.
that cash cow as long as they can go with Ahsoka. You know this.
Yeah, if they can pump out like the quality of Mandalorian, and
absolutely,
give it all.
I thought they were marked as limited, but from what I can tell, they were marked as original series, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason I think
the
it's
Kenobi
Rangers
series is limited, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, they referenced the Obi-Wan Kenobi one is limited. But the reason I think it's not necessarily about like the officers of the New Republic, like the X-Wing pilots we've seen, and like even like the Cara Dune spinoff that we got rumors of, she was marked as a marshal and like an officer. She wasn't marked as a ranger necessarily. And in the Ahsoka tweet that Disney put out, they tagged Rosario Dawson in it. And if it was about Cara Dune or something, they would have tagged Gina Carano.
Yeah.
So that's where my thought process lies. Well, I haven't told that theory to anyone else, and I haven't watched any.
From my interpretation of what we've gotten is, I don't know what we call the X-Wing pilots. Maybe they're Rangers. Maybe there's another term for what they're doing. But them basically deputizing her. I kind of understood it as Cobb Vanth was the marshal of that little town, but like I kind of took it as like she's the marshal of maybe the planet Navarro. You know what I mean? Like this is your district. You can deputize. You can do whatever. Like you are the law. Like it's Stallone. I am the law. And she. But that's what I interpreted it. But you could be right. Maybe she's just like maybe those guys weren't Rangers. Maybe there's another, step up or another shiny badge that goes up. I don't know. I'm very curious.
Rangers, don't they more like they're more mobile versus like a marshal that has more of a district?
Like, well, what if we see somebody come on? They're like, it's morphin' time. We're like, holy shit, world's colliding.
Right.
Like it's the crossover I never knew I wanted.
But yeah, that was a long discussion to go on. That's where I think we'll end up. I don't think Grogu is going to end up with Din at the end of the season. I think we're going to see the Jedi or Force user that heard Grogu, and I think we are going to get a Din and Gideon showdown.
Yeah,
I'm calling it out, Katie. It's Mara Jade. That's my big swinging for the fence. That's the Jedi. It will be Mara Jade, and you will have to wait an entire year, but you'll get a little Mara Jade next year to be like, holy shit. That's my swing for the fences prediction. Probably totally wrong, but that's what I'm throwing out there. If we're fishing, I'm fishing for big fish. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you're right. I'll take a shot next week on the episode.
Do you want to move into the investor call? Because I think I'm personally done with this episode. Yeah. I'm curious where we're going and all that, but I can't wait till next week and I'll just let it unfold.
I'll be sitting on the edge of my seat till next Friday.
Yeah, there's some interesting things that investor call that I do want to talk about.
I'd say let's go for it. I got the synopsis pulled up in front of me if anyone wants.
Whichever one you want to start with.
Well, I mean, we talked about the Rangers. We've talked about that one for a minute. So,
right.
Do we have anything else to say about that one?
Yeah, we can kind of mark that one off the list. Yeah. We can go to wherever you want to go, Katie. You just lead the way.
Yeah, I think the big thing of why I think there's a lot of speculation on the Rangers of the New Republic one is, I mean, they don't really give us anything in that tweet about it. It's Rangers of the New Republic, a new original series set within the timeline of The Mandalorian, is coming to Disney Plus. Mm-hmm. I didn't watch the investors call personally. I've just kind of been looking at summaries. Yeah. Nathan with his R2 unit. I think all of the logos for the shows were really neat. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
All right, well, let's go ahead. Do you want to jump into the
Ahsoka one?
Yes.
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 I think it'll be really interesting to see. I liked that they went ahead and just stated, okay, Rosario's coming back. Mm-hmm. It is what it is. Like, I'm excited for it.
Me too.
So.
Me too. Did you notice the logo? Did you notice anything interesting about the logo for the Ahsoka show?
It looks kind of like the World Between Worlds item, as
Yes,
well as
that's what
some
I
of the
keyed on.
symbols on the Tython.
That's what I keyed on, was the World Between Worlds looking aspect. But if Tython is like basically the first temples, maybe it all ties into the World Between Worlds. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Very interesting.
Sarah,
And we
what you
do know
got?
that she's the shepherd of the Force, or whatever the hell she is, being all Gandalf like, you know.
Well, I mean,
Maybe that's her story of how she turns into Ahsoka the White. I don't know.
Yes, and gets a staff.
Yeah. I'm just the only thing I just hope they work on, and I've said this before, I want her to look more her age.
Yes.
You know, with that's
coming.
Because I mean, you know, I felt like the episode with her introduction live action, they're like, okay, we see what works, and let's see how can we work on this a little bit more. You know, maybe a different material, but just sell it to me. I just want to see. It's like, you guys can do it. I don't care. You know, I wouldn't say CGI versus, you know, but I thought she did a fantastic job, and I really feel like her introduction was kind of like a run through. Let's see, you know, like the reaction, how things work, how things don't work. You know, maybe they'll work on the action and the fight sequences a little bit more. You know, so
she's going to be well trained in doing the
absolutely.
the reverse grip with those sabers.
Absolutely.
You know, they've already announced that she's going to be well versed in the reverse grip fighting style.
Absolutely.
So I can't wait for that.
And I swear, please bring back Marie Kim.
Yes.
For the stunt acting.
Please.
Don't put her as someone else in the show. Don't put her as someone else.
Yeah, because that lady is, man, she's good. She's so good.
Yeah, absolutely. And then also, I'm just curious to see what the storyline, because, you know, it's just, you know, she threw out looking for Thrawn, so threw that out. So maybe, you know, Sabine will show up. That would be fantastic. I mean,
I think you're right with your Thrawn. I think that was the whole purpose, her calling that out for this backdoor pilot. And like Katie said, with this all crossing over, I think he's going to be, for lack of a better word, the Thanos or the emperor of this little 3-show thing. You know what I'm saying? To where, and maybe even the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? It's very interesting that they brought him back into the same place he was first introduced, the exact same era of where it was heir to the Empire. 5 years after all this stuff, you know what I mean? Like, boom, here we are. He's right back in the same era. So he could be the one. We thought it was Gideon. Oh no, I think it's going to be Thrawn who's been pulling the strings the whole time. Just like in the Heir to the Empire trilogy, in this same time period, he's grabbing the remnants, and he's going to be the one that basically forges the First Order without knowing he forged the First Order. You know what I mean? I think that's how we get so many guys in Force Awakens like this. I think Thrawn, maybe he gets killed before then, gets taken away, whatever, but I think he's the one bringing all these guys together to make them coordinated and still having military ranks and stuff. Because, as you guys know, he's very militaristic. You know what I mean? And those guys staying in their armor, keeping shit pristine. Gideon following shit to a letter, like, and with her dropping it, that's where we're going with her. I think it makes the most sense, and it makes the most sense for him to be the overarching, the overarching villain for the thing. And I just fucking give it to me, like, bring it on.
I want to see more of his strategy, because this is just. He just slices and dices right straight.
That's all I can say is, please bring Timothy Zahn on to consult. He doesn't have to have, the buck doesn't have to stop there with him, but he has this. He obviously he knows Thrawn's mind. Like, I would just maybe bounce him up, like, hey, like I said, not the buck stops here, not like he gets the final decision, but just bring him in to consult. Even if you don't take his ideas, just at least ask the man, because god damn, he knows his character so good and makes him so interesting.
Absolutely.
I find it interesting because maybe this is how it went down with Rebels. Well, it didn't. This is not how it went down with Rebels. But Timothy Zahn made a post that said, because so many people were asking him about the Thrawn name drop in The Mandalorian, he had no idea they were throwing it in. So I'm just hopeful that. So, like, they bring.
You're right. Yeah, that does not bode well. If he had no idea, then damn it, that means they ain't even trying. They're like, after this guy, he's only a book guy, and that's terrible.
I hope not, because I feel like with Favreau and Filoni, I feel like they have hopefully they brought him in, because you can't just take somebody's character and just like throw it out there.
It's also an early development. Like, they know it's happening, but as far as I know, it's not in production, pre-production. They still have time to bring him in to get those pieces going. So hopefully they will. And if they don't, whatever. I trust in Filoni and Favreau. Like, okay, we'll do it. Whatever, let's go.
Well, I mean, like you
Oh,
said,
and-
maybe they were just taking kind of testing the waters, throwing, with her, just throwing that out there to see what kind of reaction you would get back, is because, you've got all the, the diehards like you guys, and then you have some people like me that are starting to get into it. So, throwing a name like Thrawn, I mean, maybe, like I said, just testing the waters to see if that was something that would,
Katie,
drive interest.
Your Ranger thing, which I forgot that I heard this. Dave Filoni is hugely influenced by the work of Tolkien. Like he loves the Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, that whole Middle Earth world. And in Middle Earth, like I said, Ahsoka the White, like come on, there's a complete thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, and in Lord of the Rings, there are Strider or Aragorn is a Ranger of the North, where these men ride out and just kind of protect the North. You know what I'm saying? Like so. With this bitch, and apparently Dave Filoni's wife, as much as he likes it, apparently like Middle Earth is her Star Wars, and she knows the ins and outs and everything like Filoni does. So I could totally see more worlds colliding. So maybe this Rangers, maybe you're right with the Jedi that it is a Force user, and they're just kind of going out and they protect this sector or the Outer Rim or the unknown. Even maybe we even chart into the unknown region because you'd have to have somebody that could help out people in there that could take care of themselves. For all those people in there that don't have a republic or an empire to reach out to because they're in the unknown region. That's now that I think about it, I think you're onto something with it being a Jedi or a Force user going to be the Ranger.
Which is why I'm interested to just see, like Nathan, we've talked about this in the past, like that the Jedi and the Sith weren't the only Force users around.
Right.
So,
Night Sisters. And there's more than that.
Yeah, what if Luke found a different sect and brought them into the New Republic, which is why they're titled New Republic? Right. I don't know.
Great point. All right, let's move on though. We can spin on that one forever. We can spin our wheels on that forever. I just wanted to bring that up while it popped in my head because it clicked me when you said Ahsoka the White. It just kind of jumped in my head.
Yeah. Travis has jumped into the chat. He said Kenobi was his Kenobi with Hayden Christensen returning was his favorite thing. He also asked if that's a pros and cons list on my whiteboard. No, it's a I gotta do and I'm gonna procrastinate. So that's what it is.
Do you want to jump into the Kenobi series? Because I gotta let's go.
Go for it.
Hayden, first of all, Hayden Christensen finally getting the respect he deserves and bringing it. Like, come on, guys, let's give us not only is Ahmed Best getting his respect, you know what I mean? Like Hayden Christensen, like these guys from come on, guys, like that's great. I'm so glad these guys are getting their due respect. And Hayden coming back in as Vader. Okay, first of all, we're getting a flashback to Obi and Anakin. He's probably Jedi Knights during the Clone Wars or whatever. But him to be as Vader, because as we know, Revenge of the Sith, they built a Vader suit for Hayden to go into. So I hope we're gonna get redeemed from the no meme where I think he's gonna be like something. It's gonna be like yes, and no, people are gonna have a new one. I think we're gonna redeem the meme. And I found it interesting.
Hashtag redeem the meme.
I found it interesting that she said that the rematch of the century, because we know that Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor trained forever to get that Revenge of the Sith fight, which hands down is the best lightsaber fight in the whole thing. So if we get a number 2 of that, like, whoo, I can't wait. And damn it, I lost my train of thought. Where was I going? I had a whole point that I was going. Kenobi. What somebody said, and I found it interesting. In A New Hope, Old Ben, that's no moon, that's a space station. When he goes in there, he knows the entire layout of the Death Star. He knows where the reactor. He knows where he's going. Boom, boom, boom. Vader says, "You should not have returned." Was he meaning return to the Death Star or return to action altogether? And now with this coming, I feel like it's more like, are we going to see him go to the Death Star? Are we going to see the star being built and go to it?
I think you could be right on the Death Star, but remember, in A New Hope, he also states that this is the first time they've seen each other.
Does he?
I thought that's what.
I don't remember him ever saying this is the first time I've seen him in years, or I remember Vader saying it's good to see you, Master. Like,
okay, y'all gonna make me watch that today.
Well, because like I said,
that's what I mean. Too.
Yeah. Well, because Vader does say you should not have returned, but like we always just interpreted it of like he just now got his ass off of Tatooine and was getting back into action. But what if it's like, you shouldn't have returned to the Death Star, or what if, you know what I mean? Because Kathleen Kennedy, there's going to be a rematch. We're straight up seeing a rematch. So that just kind of puts, like Sarah said, I need to watch A New Hope and just watch it over again and take all the context of what old Ben said.
Yeah, because it's totally different now. Because I mean, now
Yes.
you know all the new content and everything that's been sprinkled back in. I mean, it's kind of changed a little bit.
So I want to read Hayden's quote. Kennedy said, "This will truly be a day long remembered, as it was confirmed that Hayden Christensen will be returning as Darth Vader. This will be the rematch of the century," Kennedy said. Hayden said, "It was such an incredible journey playing Anakin Skywalker. Of course, Anakin and Obi-Wan weren't on the greatest of terms when we last saw them. It will be interesting to see what an amazing director like Deborah Chow has for us." Sorry, I'm laughing at Nathan.
Yes.
I'm excited to work
We're
with
going to see it.
Ewan again. It feels good to be back.
Yeah, it does.
My site, Full Circle Cinema, posted an article that that has the footage description of the sizzle reel shown.
Yeah.
Ewan said, "There's a hunger for this character to come back. The fans have been waiting long enough, you know." Deborah Chow then came in to tease some of the show's darker elements, including Jedi Hunters. Remember, Nathan, we talked about Inquisitors.
We did. Yes, we did. Oh, show me the Grand Inquisitor. Yes.
This is quite a dark time that we're coming into with him. Just being a Jedi, it's not safe. There's Jedi Hunters out there. Obi-Wan Kenobi could.
I don't care. Sorry, I'm just talking to myself. I'm just give me the Inquisitors. Give them all to me.
Obi-Wan Kenobi could feature flashbacks to the events of Star Wars Revenge of the Sith. And we didn't mention this, but the official title was released as Obi-Wan Kenobi, just so we're clear. Mm-hmm. Concept art shown during the reel featured a Jedi lightsaber blade ignited, defending a trio of younglings as the newly appointed Darth Vader marches in on the Jedi Temple with a legion of clone troopers. The series will focus on Kenobi's final job of protecting Luke Skywalker.
Guys, you know, we're not really, you know how like that fucking 1 minute and 45 seconds at the end of Rogue One with Vader is like the greatest Vader shit in history. I think this show is going to top that because it's going to be full on Vader, just like at the end of Rogue One. It's not going to be all slow moving and stuff, which I love the original trilogy, but that was always one thing I wanted. Even the Luke and Vader in Return of the Jedi. No. Like this is going to be Vader coming in just kicking ass and taking names, and I cannot wait. It's going to be Rogue One Vader, probably turned up to 11. You know what I mean? Like just force choking and going and just cutting them down, and I can't wait. This was the mic drop for me. Like I said, this Hayden coming back and her saying the rematch. This was literally the mic drop. You know what I mean? Like bam.
Oh, I was so excited because how long did you hear, fan casting all this? Like, oh, you need to bring him back. You need to bring him back. And for to actually being confirmed after, oh God, how many years? I mean, it seems like it's been a few years that they've talked about it.
The only thing I can say is I hope that they have the scripts done and the dialogue and they immediately give that stuff to James Earl Jones, because I hate to say it, but the man's like 83 stuff. If there's no other Vader voice. If you're bringing Vader back, please, James Earl Jones, and get him the scripts now so he can have it recorded and put in the bank, because heaven forbid, but what if something happens? You know what I'm saying? We've lost a lot of people. He's in that age range, and you cannot have another voice like James Earl Jones. It's
like Transformers, with Optimus Prime. You got to have Peter.
Right.
Was it Peter Cullen? I mean, you've got to.
Peter Cullen, exactly. That's all I'm saying is please, Kathleen Kennedy, fast track the scripts to James Earl Jones so he can get that shit recorded.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nathan, I think you'll find the rest of this interesting. But yes, I agree with you. McGregor says we start on Tatooine and go on a rollicking adventure, shown with concept art featuring a stingray-like creature floating above slave workers toiling away in Tatooine's barren sandy landscape. We glimpse a watery planet where armed soldiers fire upon a mini-armed sea creature. Deborah Chow said we couldn't tell the story of Obi-Wan Kenobi without addressing Anakin or Vader. Chow added over an image of the armored Vader seated on a throne as he communicates with a hologram, possibly his master, the reigning emperor of the Galactic Empire. Ewan said, the most beautiful thing of all is that it's brought me back together with Hayden. It'll be amazing to bring these characters back together again, very unexpectedly.
I think we see Ian McGarrett. I think we see Ian McGarrett as the Emperor, even if it's a hologram. I think we do see Vader talking to him, which also Just come on, baby. This is my shit. Come on, keep it going. I love it.
Audiences will definitely see Obi-Wan and Darth Vader get into it again as they show the blue blade of a hooded Obi-Wan clash with the fiery red blade of Darth Vader, evoking imagery of their previous encounter in Revenge of the Sith. Having another swing at each other might be quite satisfying for everybody, McGregor teased. We hope that you enjoy it as much as we're going to enjoy making it. The show will take place 10 years after the events of Revenge of the Sith.
So that's a limited series, right?
So
Yep.
Luke, you know what? We also, there's a perspective that nobody thinks. We could see a 10-year-old Luke, because Luke knows who he goes, old Ben. You know, old Ben. I wonder if he's talking about old Ben Kenobi. You know what I mean? So they think he's kind of just crazy old Ben, but I think that's very interesting that we'll have a real opportunity to see Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru and, like, you know, just see Luke out there doing moisture farm and stuff and just hating his life and like
drinking his blue milk,
join the rebellion. You know what I mean?
Keep talking. I'll be right back.
All right, but I really think that's like Travis said, like this was like that was the mic drop in my opinion. No,
absolutely.
For the Star Wars side, for me personally, and we're going to talk about another my secondary thing that I'm excited for. But to me, this was the coup de grace for the Star Wars. Because like I said, Hayden Chris, like I'm so glad the man's getting the respect he deserves. Ahmed Best has had his time, you know, for people finally respecting him and the work that he put in, and now it's Hayden's time, and I'm just so happy.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Happy. And I've told you this countless times, Revenge of the Sith. I mean, that's the Star Wars movie in my house. I mean, that's the one that we always go to. That's the one I always enjoy. And it's always, and you know, you see the evolution of Anakin's character, and I think the evolution of Hayden's acting as well. So I'm just kind of curious to see how he's going to bring it on, because, you know, I'm wondering, I know it's like 10 years, but I'm wondering, you know, if it will, maybe there's a flashback. And I kind of do want to see a flashback of like when he becomes Vader, like in his very first, you know, and maybe it is the, you know, after the, no, you know, because I mean, he's not, I mean, he's still in that transition period. I mean, you still have that even after he is Vader. I mean, he's still part Anakin. It's like, I want to see it that exact moment where Anakin is gone. You know what I mean? So, because it's kind of like when, like in Rebels.
I agree with you.
You know, when you see Rebels and Ahsoka and Vader, you know, when you see his eye, it's like, okay, there's that one split second where he recognizes her and you're thinking, is Anakin in there somewhere? You know, I mean, it's.
I think we see him in his meditation chamber with his helmet off, like, because like he doesn't want to have to be stuck in this armored suit all the time.
Right.
He does, which I mean, you know, he's fine with a robot hand and stuff, but he doesn't want to have this helmet on and see through these lenses. Like he wants to be able to go through, but he can't. So he's been trying to heal himself and like stuff in that in his little whatever the fuck you call that thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So like I think we will see deep fried Anakin. You know, he'll be all crispy skin and stuff. You know, it'll be Kentucky fried Anakin. He'll be out there with his helmet off, and that's fine.
I mean, that's always been my question too. That's always my question, as far as like the Anakin Vader thing, because you know when you first meet Vader in New Hope, I mean, you really don't know anything about Anakin. You know, it's only you just hear, you know, like Luke talk about, you know, my father and all this kind of stuff. So I think.
Well, and then Obi-Wan being like, I knew your father.
Yeah,
you know
so I think it'd be a nice addition to the Anakin story, because you didn't really get it until, you know, the prequels. So I'm just curious to see how there's just so much they're finally filling in. That's what I'm so excited about.
I'm not worried, but it does make me a bit nervous with like this is what we got coming at you. Like there a lot of what, as Katie and I have said, which I'm totally down for filling in gaps and stuff because it's needed. But a lot of the great stuff about Star Wars is that little bit of time in between and that time to speculate or kind of what you think happened or you know what I mean? And like we're gonna in 20 years we could literally be able to have every minute of every second of the Skywalker saga. You know, we could follow minute by minute if we wanted to. Eventually, you know what I'm saying? If they I'm not worried about it, but it is a concern that I've heard people say is like, is it going to be oversaturation? Is it going to be too much? I'm not saying that, but there's
no, because you can always bring this in.
I would love that. I would totally love that. But,
so Jonathan said he laughed at your Kentucky Fried Anakin comment. I just want to throw something out there. What would y'all think of the Knights of Ren maybe getting tossed into here as kind of like just a mention. Maybe not even like literally just like the Operation Cinder mention we got in the Mandalorian episode.
Well, but in this time period, would that be a little too
Little
soon? Or are they like,
premature?
I don't know much about the Knights of Ren. Are they an ancient thing that have gone back to, like, have they been, have they been around for 100 years or what? Because I don't know. I know there's a comic where Kylo goes and like he meets one and then he finally comes back and kills the guy and assumes the leader mantle. But I don't know how long has that order been around? What are they doing? I don't know, but it could happen. It's possible. As Mark Hamill would say.
This is from the Knights of Ren article on Wikipedia. The Knights emerged from the unknown regions in the aftermath of the Galactic Civil War when the Galactic Empire fell to the New Republic. They once followed a warrior known only as Ren until Ben Solo joined the ranks after the resurgent Jedi Order fell back into ruin.
Then with that description alone, then it cannot take place because this is 10 years after the Civil War, but the Empire hasn't even been defeated yet. So it's right in the middle of the Imperial reign. So that description says it happens after the fall of the Empire. So I would say no to that then.
Well, okay, but I would counter with saying, okay, we've only known so much at this point.
You're right. Yeah.
So
it could happen.
The Knights of Ren were an enclave of masked warriors who served Kylo Ren, Masters of the Knights of Ren, and the Supreme Lord of the First Order during the New Republic era. They were neither Jedi nor Sith, but members of a new generation of Force-sensitive adepts that emerged to fill the void left by the demise of the last Sith Lords. Adhering to the ways of Ren, a philosophy epitomized by the lightsaber, the Knights roamed the galaxy, causing wanton destruction as devotees of the dark side of the Force. Armed with distinctive weapons for ranged and close-quarter combat, they were fearsome enforcers of their master's will.
Yeah.
Maybe let's see the Rangers go after.
Any of that. If only we could have seen any of that in the sequel trilogy, other than just like cool, like little Batman poses or whatever, like little silhouette shots. If they'd actually done some shit, I'd have really been happy. They look cool as hell.
But that's why I ask, do you think you hear a mention?
You could. I mean,
because we know Sidious is based.
Order.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know Sidious is based in the unknown regions, so.
Maybe let's see the Rangers go after. Maybe that's their
like I said,
big bads.
I'm done. I said I'm all done with the Obi. Like I said, the Obi. I bring it on. I'm ready for it.
I know. It's just like it's almost to the point. So it's like I'm tired of talking about it. I just want to see it.
Where do you want to go to the next one at?
Let's take an ad break and then we'll jump into the Lando series.
Oh
yes. Okay, we'll go there.
And 3, 2, 1. And back. Back.
Yeah. Let's go, Lando.
So we did get confirmation that Justin Simeon, the creator of Dear White People, is developing a spinoff of Donald Glover's Lando Calrissian.
It is confirmed Glover's?
Awesome.
I'm okay with that. Let's go.
That's the Full Circle Cinema article. Let me see what the Star Wars article says.
I thought that they left it vague, but my thoughts would go Donald Glover. Like he's such a hot commodity right now. He's one of the high. I mean, I personally like the Solo movie, but I almost think he outshines the lead character because Aaron Wright did a great job. Hey, like I mean, I got you, guy. Like you're okay. I got you all, but I mean. He really got outshined by Donald Glover as Lando, except for the whole weird banging droids thing, which I hope they leave that out. I don't need Lando unscrewing a hole and putting corking or oil. Get out of here! Stop that shit. I know 2020 everything we can do. Stop it. He was a ladies' man. He's always gonna be a fucking ladies' man. He doesn't have to bang droids or he just wants somebody to touch his thing. Like stop it. He's just rubbing it against things. Guy, girl, fucking droids. It's the seat, the couch cushion. What are we doing? Stop it. He's a ladies' man. All right, quit. Knock that shit off.
He'll still have a hellacious cape closet. So collection.
The Star Wars article only states everyone's favorite scoundrel Lando Calrissian will return in a brand new event series, which makes me think it's limited because they don't say original here. A brand new event series for Disney Plus. Justin Simeon, creator of the critically acclaimed Dear White People and a huge Star Wars fan, is developing the story. That's all we know.
Well, I think it's cool. I mean, because a lot of these, throwing out limited series, I mean, it's, you may be able to tell the story within, only a few episodes. You don't necessarily need 5 seasons,
I would have liked to see, you know, the young, you know, they must have heard about my maneuver at the Battle of Tanab. Show me the Battle of Tanab. All right, even let Donald Glover do it. Like, show you. Let's go. Show it to me.
Well, I'll be interested to see if they kind of have Billy D. Williams come back and narrate and kind of just do it as like his diary entry.
Like he's thinking,
Solo.
Great idea. Fucking great idea. I would love that, Kate. Let's do that. Disney.
I will say that's not my idea. I saw it on Twitter somewhere. I don't remember from where, but so I think that would be really interesting to see.
I'm trying to think, what else do they have?
That's really all we know on that one. It's just that the story is being developed.
Yeah. Let's talk about Bad Batch real quick. Let's just transition to that real quick. Because what'd you think of the trailer?
I thought it was interesting. It got me a little bit more intrigued. Like, we'll actually see like the clones being cycled out of the Empire's army and how they're kind of brought back and everything. So I think we'll see that, and then I think we'll see some conflict within them, even if it's just in the Bad Batch that says, okay, what do I do now? Because we know for a fact that Filoni developed the clones to have that emotional sense still. So I would like to see reactions from other clones other than the Bad Batch, but I liked that they brought in Fennec Shand, it looks like, with the helmet. That's what Nathan and I were insinuating earlier. It looks like she'll be referenced a lot. It'll be cool to see who they bring to voice her, because I think Fennec Shand's got
hopefully Ming Na Wen. Hopefully she can squeeze that in and voice her own character.
Yeah, that would be what I would prefer. So
me too. But I would just like to say I'm gonna go ahead and give myself a little pat on the back, because the trailer confirmed exactly what I've been saying. It's the motherfucking A-Team in space, because literally how many shots did they show the back of the ship heading to a new planet? Because just like, you know, if you watch the old A-Team show, if you have enough money and you can track these men down, you know, the A-Team are there for you or what. It's basically literally it's the A-Team space, but I'm okay with it. And I like that Echo, he's got the Lobot thing on the back of his head. If you notice that one shot, he's got the Lobot computer thing on his head, and he's got like a Swiss Army arm now. It's not just a little droid power. Like he's got fingers and stuff, but it looks like he can interchange it to like his little pointy thing, you know, to interlock with stuff. I'm so glad Echo's there, because like that's our clone we went through the whole wars with, and like he's gonna be our rock and the one that I feel the most. But I really found it interesting that they put the Lobot thing on the back of his head or whatever, you know, the mini computer back there or whatever.
Yeah. It's especially kind of just like you said, the Lobot thing evoking, just kind of tying everything in. I like that.
Sure. The animation, I'm glad that it looks still on par with with season 7 of Clone Wars, because and I'm glad it's still in that style. Like I am the trailer did do more, especially seeing Palpatine in there, like you know, the best galactic order, you know. So basically we're gonna hear the clones right after Order 66 being like, you know, Bad Batch is gonna be like, what the fuck is going on? You know what I mean? So it's gonna be interesting. And I think this trailer, although we didn't see him, I think it gives more credence to Darth Maul will basically be their big bad, you know, Maul. And I think that's who they're going to be, or, you know, he's going to be the one with his crime syndicate and stuff. I think Maul is going to be the villain in this.
Yeah, I would think so too. Which will be interesting to see, like, kind of how they choose to play off of what happened in the Clone Wars, and seeing how everything turns out.
Yeah. Well, because it'd be interesting to see how he gets from, because we know it's season 7, and then we know it's Solo. So like this will give a chance to fill in that gap right there, which is just quite a bit of time, but it's not too, you know what I mean? But you get right in there into that gap. So I think that's right where we're going to fill this in. I don't think it goes past Solo. I think it's going to fill the gap in between where we see him stay, you know, telling Kira. Like I don't think we see Kira in this. You know what I mean? I think this is all before. I think we see Dryden Voss. You know what I'm saying? I think we see him in it, the animated, because they already have the model of him from Clone Wars season 7. Paul Bettany's a part of the family. Real easy for him to record lines. So I just think that it's going to be his syndicate is going to somehow tie into what, you know, the A-Team in space going around and helping people out.
You know what I just thought about? Sorry, and this is circling back to the Kenobi series.
Okay.
Greg says, Nathan, hold your fingers up and show us how big that gap is again.
Stop it. Stop it.
I'm missing something, but okay. I'm doing too many things at once.
Sarah gets it. It's all right, Greg. Me and Sarah, we get it. We're on your level.
I'm sorry. I try to manage the chat and like
it's because Katie's used to measuring like this. She's like, I'm over here. She's over there going like that.
Anyways, Obi-Wan Kenobi show. We know it's set 10 years after Revenge of the Sith, which is before Twin Suns in the Rebel series. Just throwing that out there. We can do with it as
there's going to be a lot of tie-in. Maul's gonna kind of thread that needle, I do believe, because I mean, for where I know he went from like being just scary looking villain to like Shakespeare, like with metal legs. I don't give a shit. I'm all about his Shakespeare. It's about like, let's go. Make him be the thread that goes through, because I love Sam Witwer's performance. I love just how, you know what I mean? Like I said, he's literally Shakespearean the way he talks, and I'm like, give it to me. Bring it on. Let's go.
Nathan, you got anything else you want to talk about the Bad Batch?
Nope.
Okay.
I am more interested, like you said, after seeing this, I am more interested. And I just want to say again, I'm going to pat myself on the back because I got validation. It is 100% the A-Team in space, as I called months ago.
I want to save the movies talk for later. Let's get through the Disney Plus.
Sure.
Like The Acolyte. This is, what is her name? I thought this was Leslie Highland.
It's the Russian doll chick. Yeah.
I'm looking for it.
I don't know what other work she's done. That's just all I hear everybody's talking about. She's so great for the Russian doll. I don't know. I haven't personally seen it. Maybe it is great, but I'm just saying that's where I keep Sarah going, shit.
Yeah.
I see.
Leslie Headland, creator of an Emmy Award nominated creator of the mind-bending series Russian Doll, brings a new Star Wars series to Disney Plus with The Acolyte. The Acolyte is a mystery thriller that will take the audience into a galaxy of shadowy secrets and emerging dark side powers in the final days of the High Republic era.
What do you want to bet the bad guy's going to be some creepy, slimy guy who tried to like Harvey Weinstein somewhere or something? Call it now. He's going to be the stereotypical, I hate, terrible, terrible man that everybody hates. Calling it now. I'm Babe Ruth and that shit. Watch. Mark my words. It's going to be some shit you go, oh, well, that's interesting.
It's a series that will focus on the rising of the dark side.
I think that's interesting. I think that's interesting because everything's been the light. So
the High Republic doesn't have any in it.
You want to hear something interesting that I heard, Katie? The theory that I was like, whoa, but I don't know how long the species lives. So you would probably know more than I do. I heard somebody say to differentiate this, and like there's a growing thing. What if Darth Plagueis is in this show and building this? But I don't know how long the Munes live. Which technically, that book is Legends now, so Disney they have a clean slate, but they only have to name the character Plagueis because it says it in Revenge of the Sith. But it doesn't necessarily have to be immune again. What if it's a Gruden that goes 250 years or something? You know what I mean? Like, what if they bring Plagueis in, and because they're saying they're chasing some. That would make so much sense because Plagueis is still a Sith pulling the strings, but they were still hidden. You know what I'm saying? Like he was keeping shit hidden until he gets Palpatine and all. Like, oh, God, please! Like, I'll love that. So now it's probably not going to be, but what a great thing to kind of like just put that one little thread, not only Yoda, but maybe like a Plagueis in there, and just kind of run it through, and we get to know more about him.
Yeah,
just an interesting theory I heard.
I would think that would be interesting. He's a Munilisk.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how long they live. The canon average lifespan in Legends was over 100 years old.
Oh shit! If they bring it back, look, I could be onto something. Well, actually, to my friend I was talking to, but yeah, it could be.
Give credit.
Well, you guys don't know. He's not a buddy on the network. My buddy Sam, everybody goes, Sam, right? He was when we were talking about it. He was one that posited that theory because he really loves that Plagueis novel, and he's ready for him to come in. So, thought it'd be interesting.
It would be. It'll be a mystery thriller, which is interesting because they kind of differentiated a lot of the things that are coming to Disney Plus. Is kind of the Andor series. We got a sizzle reel for that. That's listed as a spy thriller. This is listed as mystery thriller. So,
kind of looking forward to having something that's more dark side oriented. I mean, because like I was saying, everything's more like Jedi or light side type stuff. I'm like, give me some darkness.
The Acolyte. What did we learn from Rise of Skywalker? Palpatine had thousands of Sith acolytes. So like this told like, it's fucking Plagueis. All right, I'm calling it. It's gonna be Plagueis in there. He's the Sith acolyte, and he's bringing it all in there. I'm swinging for the fences again.
Well, okay, and now this was not referenced in any of the promotional material for the acolyte after the Investors Day that I can find. But remember what we've heard about the series beforehand when we knew Headland was going to develop a series. It was going to be martial arts focused, and it was going to be female, like the stars were going to be female. So, but could you...
Like, again, giving more credence. Penises are icky, and it will be a terrible, terrible, terrible penis that is the bad guy. He's just a terrible person. It's going to be all 2020 woke, which whatever. I'm willing to give it a chance because I want to know more about this High Republic era. So I'm going to watch it, and I'll judge for myself. But again, mark my words, I'm calling that shit. Go ahead.
I've never seen Russian Doll, so I don't know what to make of her work or anything.
Let's move on.
Yes.
I've never seen her work. Whatever. I'll keep that shit out of here. Let's go. Keep on going.
Okay, so we've got Andor, which we got a sizzle reel for. It's created by Tony Gilroy and will arrive on Disney Plus in 2022. So we're going to get the Mandalorian before we get Andor. Mandalorian season 3. They are filming it now. Diego Luna did state that, so that's cool to see. He's reprising his role. Fantastic new cast that includes Stellan Skarsgård, which we had heard a lot of these beforehand, but now it's official because it's on Star Wars. Adria Arjona, Fiona Shaw, Denise Goff, Kyle Soller, which never mind, and Genevieve O'Reilly as Mon Mothma. Now, remember, we had heard that the Bail Organa guy was going to be in here, but he's not referenced, I don't think. Jimmy Smits, yeah. Production kicked off 3 weeks ago in London. So,
well, I mean, if you got Mon Mothma, you technically don't need Bail Organa. You know what I mean? So, like, she could definitely fill that void, that same spot. Exactly. Like, she was basically the putting the rebellion together. So I'm fine with that. Give me Mon Mothma. She's in that, she fills that role.
I didn't actually watch This Is a Rule for this because what I heard, and I watched like a couple seconds, but it looked
they're
mostly
just building
from Rogue
sets
One.
and shit. Yeah, they showed a lot of footage from Rogue One, and then they built sets, and then from the premiere, and then Diego Luna being like, "Oh, it was bittersweet because these fans embraced us, and we all knew they was dead." Which I get it. I'd be the same way. But I'm very interested. I don't know where they're gonna go with it. I really don't know. I mean, unless
from Rogue One,
Operation Stardust or whatever, but I don't know. I'm going to give it a chance because I loved Rogue One. That is the best, other than the Mandalorian,
watch that the other week.
Film-wise. Yeah, the film-wise, that is the absolute gem, cream of the crop that Disney has delivered as Rogue One.
Well, I think it's going to be interesting too because, like I said, I watched Rogue One a couple of weeks ago, and it's just, when Cassian makes his statement talking about you don't know, what I fought for. I've been in this all my life. Da da da. So I mean. Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see what that backstory is going to be about because he was very adamant, very passionate about what he had to say. So
I am kind of mad. We got confirmation on the show's name. It's Andor. That's the name of the series, which makes me mad because I really wanted the Fulcrum series that I've been talking about. Like, you just go, okay, now I've got Cassian Andor. Now I've got Ahsoka. Now I've got another Fulcrum, whatever. So. But it wasn't meant to be, apparently. Nathan, I just want you to know Greg agrees with you on Plagueis shall be in the Acolyte. So
yes.
So that's really all we know about Andor. It'll be interesting to see if we get any trailers or anything, or if they follow kind of the Mandalorian's promotional areas of expertise. So. The last couple ones that we got for Disney Plus, we have Star Wars Visions, which will present all new creative takes on the galaxy far, far away. It will be a series of animated short films celebrating Star Wars through the lens of the world's best anime creators. The anthology collection will bring 10 fantastic visions from several of the leading Japanese anime studios, offering a fresh and diverse cultural perspective to Star Wars.
That'll be interesting.
Doesn't
I
really blow
believe
my
they
dress
said
up.
that would.
I like anime and stuff, but like I said, it does move the needle for me because anybody that knows anything about anime and whatever's their culture stuff, like they put a lot of focus on like their cuisine, like Japanese food and stuff, and like when stuff gets wacky and zany, their eye, like there'll be this beautiful shot, and then all of a sudden their head's giant, huge, little sizzle. Like I don't personally need any of that stuff, but if it's like and you can look it up on YouTube, the 7.5 minute TIE Fighter animated like little anime, if it's like that, oh hell yeah, sign me up because that is excellent. But if it's like I said, if it's just going to be the wacky zany, your Dragon Ball Z or your Naruto or whatever the hell, however you say that shit, where like they get startled and like I said, out of nowhere, a big giant head comes into nowhere and stuff, or they're screaming a little. I don't need that dumb shit, whatever. I don't know. That's just me personally, but I'll give it a chance because I do like anime. Because Japanese, you want to talk about some of the most crisp and looks like real life shit? Watch the Japanese anime. That shit is gorgeous, but they just go a little, wacky, zany, a little too much in some things for Star Wars, in my opinion. But whatever. Like I said, I'll give it a shot. The first one, whatever.
Maybe it will blow your skirt up.
Don't blow my dress up. Yeah, it don't blow my dress up, but whatever.
It'll be interesting to see kind of what stories they choose to tell. The last one that we have for Disney Plus specifically is a droid story, which as the description is, as Lucasfilm continues to develop new stories, the intersection of animation and visual effects offers new opportunities to explore. Lucasfilm Animation will be teaming up with the visual effects team Industrial Light and Magic to develop a special Star Wars adventure for Disney Plus, a droid story. This epic journey will introduce us to a new hero guided by legendary duo R2-D2 and C-3PO.
Put epic in parentheses here because as much as I love R2 and 3PO, we're gonna have an epic journey. Really with a droid stuff. Oh, okay, yeah. No, now we might be able to have a little fun and do stuff, but an epic. Stop it. Who's gonna be?
Don't they already have like a little?
I can't wait for droids. Like shit. Nobody's gonna be doing that shit. Stop it.
Isn't there already like a little animated droid series?
Which
seems like I've seen that.
from the 80s, which is I think is like I said, they've done a new holiday special. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't redo Caravan of Courage and shit. I mean, whatever, that's fine. But I'm just saying, I don't think this is gonna be any quote epic. It's just gonna be like.
You think it's gonna be more kid oriented?
Like, hey, yes, I do. I think it's gonna be for
maybe it's
kids.
Just more kid content.
They'll run into Dio, and they'll run into BB-8, and they're gonna go on these wacky adventures.
Bring Chopper. I don't see Chopper and R2 together.
Right. Like I said, it doesn't move the needle for me one way or the other. I'll give it a shot, but whatever.
But it's nice that it'll be animated. Anthony Daniels will probably come back to.
He's already recorded his lines.
Yeah.
Or is still in the middle. Yeah. I listened to his show and they had an interview with him that they conducted last week. And in there, before this was announced, he said that he was just recently recording C-3PO lines. And come on, 2 and 2 together, droids. He's already literally doing his voice work for it.
Yep. So, do y'all want to jump into the main event?
Yes, let's go.
I want to talk about Tychus first because I'm saving the you know what for that.
Did we get any information? Oh, other than what did they give on his? I just know that they were like, yeah, we're gonna work with him and he's gonna do a thing after he does a thing. It's like,
Kennedy just said Tychus' approach to Star Wars will be fresh, unexpected, and unique. His enormous talent and sense of humor will ensure that audiences are in for an unforgettable ride.
I know it's going to be a yuck fest.
That's very specific.
Yeah, it's exactly what it's going to be. Like I said, my biggest problem with Taika is if they have somebody like a Dave Filoni to put the leash on him, because out of his own mouth, if you watch that behind the scenes stuff, it was nice to have Dave Filoni in there when I got too far out of the lines, because that's all he fucking does is go out of the line, which is fine. That's his style. But if they just let him off the leash, like you're going to get a yuck fact, and it's going to be zany and wacky, but I don't know, whatever. Whatever. It might be the greatest film ever. I'm going to watch it, but unless he has somebody to have a leash with him, I'm not super enthused. And I, you know what I mean? Whatever's whatever.
Is there still a timetable on this one? Film. There's still a timetable on this one? Okay. Because I know trying 24, 25, something like that. I mean.
Probably.
Okay.
That's what we know.
I'm interested. I just, like I said, his style doesn't always appeal to me. I'm fully admitting that season 1 Mandalorian episode was phenomenal. But like I said, out of his own mouth, he had Dave and John there to put a leash on him to reel his ass back in when he got too far out there.
I'm just curious to what story. I mean, that's my thing. The script, storyline, actors, that kind of thing. Where is it going to lead? So I think that's probably going to color a little bit as well.
Yeah. Okay, can we talk about the big one?
Yeah,
let's go.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Patty Jenkins will be directing Rogue Squadron, which is set to arrive in theaters Christmas 2023. I saw this one and I was like, oh, that was all I focused on Thursday night. That was like,
do you think this will be the Alphabet Squadron? Do you think her Rogue Squadron is the Alphabet Squadron? You don't, I mean, like those from those books, you don't think she'll have those same pilots or you think this is going to be a whole
I think they'll be in there. I think it'll be an opportunity to kind of tie stuff in, but I think this is directly going to be related to Rogue Squadron. We didn't get any kind of information on the timeline of this movie. It just says the story will introduce a new generation of starfighter pilots as they earn their wings and risk their lives in a boundary-pushing, high-speed thrill ride and move the saga into the future era of the galaxy.
I love your George Lucas, the saga.
I don't really care. I'm excited.
Katie and George, the only two that say saga.
I'm looking forward to it because I think it's gonna be gorgeous. I mean, Patty Jenkins has such a fantastic eye. I mean, just it's gonna be epic. Absolutely. And I love they're bringing all these directors in. All these, because obviously Wonder Woman, one of my favorites. So I'm just it's gonna be gorgeous. It's absolutely gonna be gorgeous. I can't wait.
And this is,
and I'll have to read it from the story. So.
They directly reference this as the next Star Wars feature film. So this will be the next movie that comes out in theaters for Star Wars.
Is there a new canon version of Rogue Squadrons? Because wasn't there a Legends Rogue Squadron, or was that the what am I thinking? Was it the X-wing books, or was
Michael
there a Rogue Squadron?
Michael Stackpole and Aaron Alston wrote a series of 9 books that were the Rogue Squadron series. And so there hasn't really been any, Legends.
Okay.
They haven't brought those back into canon, which makes sense because we know Wedge Antilles goes off in a different direction from what the Rogue Squadron books in Legends actually bring him to. And he marries somebody completely different in Legends, which I'm not saying they couldn't modify some things, but that's where we're at. She did state on Twitter that she was taking inspiration from the Rogue Squadron games as well as the Rogue Squadron books, which makes me excited because the Rogue Squadron books by Stackpole and Alston were some of my favorite Legends books. They're still some of my favorite comfort reads. And so it was just really cool to see that interaction. And Patty and Stackpole actually interacted on Twitter where they kind of talked about it. And that's where Patty acknowledged, I read the books, your work's amazing. So that was really cool to see for me because I'm just like, I'm such a nerd with those books. And I was really sad when they didn't add features of them in canon. But they did like a whole little trailer-esque thing with her talking about her legacy with her father being a fighter pilot, and kind of her walking off in the jumpsuit and the helmet. I was like, don't laugh at me, Nathan. I'm so excited.
I know. I think this is where we see a live action Harrison Dula. I've been swinging for the fences all night. I'm going to continue to do that. I think we see a live, whether or not she is the commander of the Rogue Squadron or a superior that they have to talk to, or just somebody they pass by in the cantina. I think we see Harrison Dula. That's my. We're swinging for the fences. Just my predictions in some way, shape, or form.
So I'm going to disagree with you on this. I think this is going to be our first after the sequel trilogy series movie. Because
I'm with that too. Let's go.
And the reason I state this is because I think we know. So Snap Wexley is played by what's his name, and he dies in The Rise of Skywalker. And we know Wedge is back. We see Wedge in the Millennium Falcon. So I think that's kind of it's gonna kind of follow Wedge Antilles and Nora Wexley on their journey to kind of recover from Snap's
We saw
death,
the ghost
as
at the
well
end of
as
Rise of
training.
Skywalker.
Do what?
We saw the ghost at the end of Rise of Skywalker when they jumped in to bring all those people fight. So the same time frame you're talking about, she could still jump in there. Yeah. But you're right. I mean, it could focus on.
I think it's going to be kind of somebody names their squad Rogue Squadron. You might even see Oscar Isaac cameo back in, but somebody says, "Okay, we're going to develop our new government," because that's what they're doing now. And Rogue Squadron, it says a new generation of starfighter pilots. From what we know currently, Rogue Squadron only existed during the rebellion. And so because Wedge kind of goes off onto his own thing and kind of retires, and there wasn't really
more than
else.
I do. So I definitely take your word on this.
I'll just lump it right.
Budget's knowledge vastly out now. Yeah, so I'll take you. I will not argue with you.
But in Alphabet Squadron, you don't see Rogue Squadron reference, which is where I think a key factor would be. Rogue Squadron, a very honorific squadron name. They named their squad after the Rogue One team, and that's why there's not a Rogue One in the squadron. So I think in that sense they kind of retired it after the rebellion and kind of bring it back into the sequel trilogy government afterwards to kind of say, okay, we're trying to find inspiration somewhere. Right. I think is what we're going for. So you could see Harrison Dula. You're right, Nathan.
Yeah. Well, you're probably on the right track. I was just throwing out with my little. You're probably way more in the ballpark than I am. So and I'm fine with that. Like, I'll take that. That all sounds good to me. Oh, let's go. I trust Patty Jenkins. I mean, Wonder Woman's great. I'm sure Wonder Woman 84 is going to be good when we see it on Christmas. You know, I don't know yet, but I'm anticipating it to be good. I will be curious to see where she goes. Now, like I said, this I know will be in the next. Like Sarah said, she's got a good eye, so I think it could be. I'm along for it. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? Like, just give me the cast. You know, show me a little clip. Tell me, just I'm ready for all that little stuff to come trickling out of. Like, here's your first character cast. Even if I don't know what I'm ready for it. Let's go.
Mm-hmm. So I'm super excited, and one thing that I've always kind of noticed with Star Wars is whenever they've got, Patty will be the first woman to direct a feature film, and yes, Nathan, stay in your corner on this one.
No, I'm good with it. Go.
No, but what I'm saying is, like, I'm glad that we know her history in film versus bringing in someone new, because I know.
Yeah.
Now
she's got the pedigree.
She's got the pedigree, and it'll kind of bring in more of an area for women to come in, because people like I have complete and utter confidence in her. She's not going to put a bad film together, so people aren't going to be like, okay, a woman's directed Star Wars now. This was a terrible movie. I don't want any more women in Star Wars. Like, that's always how it goes. So,
well, that's kind of a short side, kind of dumb thing but I get what I do get what you're saying. I understand you are, but I'm just saying, like, people like that's kind of shitty.
People are always going to find issues with stuff that they don't want to happen. But what I'm saying is, I'm glad that there is that history there of her producing great and utter fantastic movies, so that the first stepping stone for women in feature film Star Wars is a step in a good direction versus an unknown direction. So
I get what you're saying, because like people, they put out like what was it, like Elektra, and they were like, see, women don't sell. So I understand what you're saying, but I don't, like you said with Patty, I don't think that's going to be an issue at all. And
which is why I'm happy.
But Deborah Chow, I'm not going to shake her off either. Even though she's doing a limited series, it's basically going to be like a 6-hour movie, basically, So like I'm not shrugging her off in any way. Like I like you said, I think that's going to be a good 1-2 punch of people seeing Kenobi and whatever Patty Jenkins does. And then that shouldn't even be an argument. Not that it should be an argument now. It should be literally whoever's who's got a great idea and who can do it, and you know what I'm saying, whatever. So like
it's like Bryce Dallas Howard. She's done fantastic, fantastic work. She has the pedigree from her father, but she's done a fantastic job what she's done with the Mandalorian. So I would be excited to see her do something.
You'll get what I'm saying, but I hope I said that well enough, because like I want more women in Star Wars. I'm glad that it's a known person, and it'll bring more opportunities later is what I'm trying to say. So
I'm just glad we've got an announcement of a feature film. I mean, like I know with Taika, you know, that was been bandied about, you know, a little bit, but now it's like
we
actually have
from this
something.
announcement?
Huh?
You know what was missing from this announcement?
What?
Ryan Johnson.
Yeah, because I've been saying all along, he's just not a good fit for Star Wars, and I'm sorry, especially with his tweet the other day. I ain't even on Twitter, but I saw, I didn't think that Luke should see Anakin there because he doesn't know Anakin. He knew better. Shut up, you asshat. That was his dad. His whole thing was, I'm not going to fight his father. Yes, Anakin would have worked. I love seeing Yoda. He didn't know that. Shut up, stupid. You don't know nothing. You don't know this world. You're a great filmmaker. You're a good suspense person. You just don't know Star Wars.
I actually agree with him seeing Yoda versus Anakin because
Yoda trained him, I get it, but Anakin would still made sense. That's his father. You think his father hasn't come to? We saw him as a Force ghost from Return of the Jedi. He's talked to his dad, but Yoda does make more sense because that was his trainer. Yes, totally.
And that's
agree.
what he was trying to say.
Yeah, okay. Maybe he was. I'll concede that. You're right.
So that I agree with Ryan in that case. That is it from.
That's all I got.
That's it from Disney Investors Day. Sarah, you got anything else? What are you excited for from Disney Investors Day? Star Wars related, not Marvel.
Yeah, that's my girl.
That was my big thing because
yes.
And then of course Ahsoka, obviously, and I want more of the Star Wars content because thanks to you guys, I've gotten more into it. So you know, like the stories and everything, I'm starting to piece everything together. So I'm like really, and like I said, I'm really excited about Patty Jenkins' film because I want to see another feature film. Yeah, I'm just like, just give me more. Give me. I mean, I'm like let everything unfold. I'm just glad to see that Disney has a plan because you know, there's just so much more out there to get. I mean, it's, you know, with Clone Wars and Rebels, I mean, you know, it's like I was telling Nathan, it's, you know, it's starting to fill in a few blanks. It's not filling in everything, but, you know, you do have time frames there where you can put a little bit more story into it, you know, develop more characters, you know, that kind of thing. So like for me, you know, with Wedge Antilles, you know, I didn't really know that much about him other than, you know, just the films, but now, you know, you're getting more like with, I think Rebels, you had a little more of a backstory with him. And now, you know, if you're saying he may be Rogue Squadron, you know, and I don't know anything about Rogue Squadron. So that's, so I'm really, you know, looking forward to that kind of thing.
Well, and I think if people have read Rogue Squadron and then read Alphabet Squadron, people will understand why I had such a hard time with Alphabet Squadron was because there was so much characterization in the Rogue Squadron books where I'm like, okay, and I'm not saying Alexander Freed didn't do a great job with Alphabet Squadron, but he built a lot of detail into it, and it's
monotonous.
So many.
Does it get lost in the details?
It's very monotonous, very, very drags you down and sloggy. There's no, you know how George Lucas's his always thing was faster, more intense. Well, this is slow and more dialogue and more clogged. And like I said, at least I did not make it through the second half, which people say it really picks up. But that's what slugged me down was that beginning, just going, oh God, shut up. Let's get to it.
I think the biggest thing with Alphabet Squadron and what I've seen with the other Star Wars books that have come to light is when you're telling one story, it's really hard to jump between perspectives, which is what Alphabet Squadron does. And so I think like the difference between that and maybe like Empire Strikes Back is you're getting kind of a one-shot story versus Alphabet Squadron, you're telling a full story through different perspectives, but you're getting the same perspective on the same parts of the story.
Right.
So
it's almost like you want let's talk more action.
I'm not trying to rush, but if you guys want to continue, go. But I got stuff to do, so I'm going to need to wrap it up. And if you guys got more to talk about, I'm going to jump out now. But if not, let's wrap it up.
Yeah, we're good.
Because I got stuff to do. I got to go do some work.
Yeah. Okay. I was just saying.
I got some football to get ready for.
Right.
Sarah, where can they find you on the Twitter? Because I'm skipping Nathan because he's no.
Yeah.
Well, you can find me on Twitter at My Lady Kitten. I bounce around a little bit. I might pop in every now and again. If you have anything you want to chat with me about, you know, you can throw in DMs. That's fine. I've got, like I said, I'm getting into the Star Wars more, but Star Trek is still my jam. But you know, I'm willing to talk about my boyfriend here. So,
does your husband know?
Yeah, well, actually, it's my daughter's boyfriend, so I'm like, it's fine, honey. You have good taste, it's fine. But again, thank you guys for letting me jump in on Star Wars. I greatly appreciate it, and I've learned a lot from you guys' vast knowledge, and I'm really enjoying it. And I'm going to finish Revan. Damn it, I'm going to finish it. We'll try to finish it tonight, so because that's another one.
I still got to read that one, but
yes, it's
so good.
Yes, absolutely.
Nathan, they can find you here next week.
Next week, or Super Civil Servants live Friday nights. Yeah, you can find me there in that chat room too. But Katie, where can they find you and the show?
Yes.
What?
Yeah,
where can they find you and the show?
You can find me on Twitter at KGirlStrap13. I'm gonna have to change that soon. Dang.
Yes, congratulations, Katie. I missed that part. Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
The show.
At
Star Wars Alliance. At Star Wars Alliance without the A in the wars. Very important. So next week will be our final live Sunday morning show for the rest of the year, actually, because Star Wars Alliance is going to take off last 2 weeks. So, or last 2 weeks.
Until 2021. We'll do next week and then 2021. So
yes. Starting the new year fresh. But we do appreciate all y'all hanging out with us every Sunday. If you hang out with us during the week, we also appreciate you. We appreciate everyone around here. But you can find us here next week, Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern. That's December 20th, I believe.
Be there, be square.
Be there, be square. Let's talk about the Mandalorian Season 2 finale, Chapter 16.
Yes.
We'll have, I'm fairly certain we'll have a giant crew with us next week. So be prepared, be here. But for now, gal, have a good day or night, whatever time of day you're listening or watching. And we'll see y'all next time. May the Force be with you.
Bye, guys.
See ya.